don't know if you thought we were done last week when we concluded with thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. But there's one more word. Amen. Britannica.com says, Amen is an expression of agreement, confirmation, or desire, used in worship by Jews, Christians, and Muslims. The basic meaning of the Semitic root from which it's derived is firm, fixed, or sure. And the related Hebrew verb also means to be reliable and to be trusted. The Greek Old Testament usually translates Amen as so be it. In the English Bible, that would be our New Testament, it has frequently been rendered as verily or truly. Now we'll come back to that New Testament usage in a few minutes, but for right now, let's focus on the ancient Hebrew, the Old Testament, the roots of this word that means fixed, firm, and sure, and its usage to state, this is reliable, this is to be trusted. So scholars will tell us that this word, Amen, is one of the very few words that comes to us intact from the ancient Hebrew to our modern English, and dozens upon dozens of other languages as well. Our sisters and brothers from the Jewish and the Islamic faiths also use this word when they pray. We use slightly different pronunciations. Amen, Amen, and Amin. But when we say this word, our lips and our tongues are forming the very same word that people made in response to the ancient prophets, to the prayers and the teachings of the apostles. The very same word that Jesus himself used to indicate that he was speaking divine truth. Amen. Amen. Amin. From Hebrew to Greek, from Greek to Latin, and then from Latin to English, and Albanian and Bulgarian, Croatian, Danish, Finnish, German, Italian, Norwegian, dozens upon dozens of languages across the globe. Languages that span the continents. We, the people of God, conclude our prayers with some pronunciation of Amen. Across the centuries and across the continents, the people of God have continued to say Amen. And when we say it, especially when we say it in group prayers or in response to something that someone else has said, we're saying, I concur, or we agree. As I've heard it said, saying Amen at the end of a prayer tells God that the prayer we've said, we really mean it. We really mean it. There's a website called New Advent, and it has links to the Catholic Encyclopedia. And there, if you look up Amen, it says, Amen is a ratification by the people of what has been spoken. And it may be interpreted in our language as if they all said, may it be done as it has been prayed. And when we petition God in our private prayers, our Amen most often means, may it be so, or, and I really mean it. But when someone speaks what we believe to be truth, and we say, Amen, what we're saying is, that's right. I agree. We're saying, that's true. Many of us have had the experience of worshiping with, for example, an African American congregation, and our sisters and brothers in that tradition often will exclaim, Amen or Amen, anywhere in the worship service that the Spirit moves them. Right? Amen. Not just at the conclusion of a prayer. Each and every person assembled there is empowered to express their concurrence with something that has been said or sung. And they may not use the word Amen. They may say, that's right. That's right. But it's the same meaning. Amen. Amen. Now you may have noticed that even I, with my frozen, chosen, uptight Midwest Lutheran roots will often conclude a sermon with a questioning, Amen? And I'm waiting for a response, right? I'm asking for your concurrence. I'm asking for your agreement, your pronouncement of Amen. That what I've said is valid, that what I've said is reliable, that it's solid, that you accept it as truth. And when I do that, when we do that, when preachers ask, Amen? Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen from the congregation? What we're asking is, will somebody confirm that I'm not just talking to myself up here? I'm not just talking for myself up here? That somebody out there has managed to hear a word from God somewhere in the midst of my words? Will somebody let me know that my point has been made? That it's been heard, that it's been accepted as truth? Are you willing to go on the record as saying, I agree? That's right. And as a reminder, you don't have to say amen if I ask amen. And you're welcome to come up after the service and say, I couldn't say amen to that, preacher. Let's talk about it, right? And of course, this word has spilled out beyond the walls of our churches and into more common usage. Someone might say, for example, gas prices are too high. And we might respond, amen to that. Right? Or this heat and humidity are wearing me out. I'm ready for winter. And we say, amen. We concur. We agree. We proclaim, that's the truth. You said it. I'm with you. I stand beside you. Your proclamation is now my proclamation, if you will. And if there's more people present, our proclamation stands as a validation of the truth that's just been spoken. Amen. She's right. Listen to her. She's speaking the truth. You can count on that, right? Now, if I go back to that earlier quote from Britannica.com, in the New Testament, Amen has frequently been rendered as verily or truly. I want you to think of all the times in our Gospels when we hear Jesus say, verily, I say to you. Truly, I say to you. Or even truly, truly, as we heard today. Truly, truly, I say to you. In the original Greek, it would read, Amen, amen, I tell you. So Britannica continues, the use of the initial amen, single or double in form, to introduce the solemn statements of Jesus in the Gospels, 52 times in the Synoptic Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, 25 times in the Gospel according to John, as in our reading today. That had no parallel in Jewish practice. Such amens expressed the certainty and truthfulness of the statements that followed. Jesus radically flipped this practice around. And instead of saying amen to what others had said, he said amen first to signify that what he was about to say was God's truth. And it upset people that heard him say that. They knew what he was doing. And not all of those who heard Jesus speak were able to accept his claim that his own original teachings were divine and that they were worthy of an amen. After all, his teachings sometimes were corrective teachings over and against teachings that they'd previously said amen to. So they could not believe when Jesus said, this is true, this is reliable. And they withheld their own amen in response. But we can thank God that there were many others who recognized God's voice. They heard God's truth in Jesus' words, and then down through the ages, across the cultures and all the man-made boundaries that we've erected, we have been handed those teachings from believer to believer, from generation to generation, including this prayer that we've come to call the Lord's Prayer. And its conclusion, that we add our amen to all of theirs across those centuries. And so, we have come to pray, our loving heavenly parent, Abba, Daddy, Papa. May your name be respected as holy for me and everyone. Amen. The praises that have been lifted here are valid. They are just, they are worthy, and we mean it. May your perfect, peaceable kingdom be fully realized. And may your will be done here and now, just as it will be someday permanently. May we work to bring it into being, moment by moment. Amen. We stand by that. The petitions that we raise here are valid petitions. Give us this day our daily bread. Help us with our basic necessities. Help us to know when we've had enough so that we might share. Amen. These requests are just. They are worthy. We mean it. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Help us to bear the cost of forgiveness and to remember that it has cost you something to forgive us as well. Amen. This is a worthy petition. This is a valid petition. It's rooted in your divine will for our lives. We attest it is true. For thine is the peaceable kingdom, the loving and forgiving power, and the self-sacrificing glory, each and every moment, forever. Amen. May it be so. It will be so. The affirmations of this doxology are valid. They're true, and we mean it. Amen. I concur. I attest. I adopt these words as mine. Amen. We concur. We attest. We adopt these words as ours. Amen. All those who've spoken these words before us spoke for us. Amen. All those who speak these words with us today speak as one body with us. Amen. All these who hear these words may count us as witnesses to their validity. Amen? And God willing, when we live the way we should live, when we walk the walk and not just talk the talk, our lives will stand as testimony to these words' worthiness and their truth. Amen? Amen and amen and amen.